What's good, YouTube? I have returned. I haven't made a video in it's probably been a week. Just want all y'all to know that I'm doing great. I just needed some time to breathe, but I am back today. So during my little time to think, I was thinking that I have been on so many different types of medication, and I've told y'all about the medications that I've been on most recently because those are the ones that impact me now and matter, and I can also provide real-time updates. Side note, I'm not on any medication still, so no bipolar medication. I am taking Adderall for ADHD, but yeah, that's about it. So still going good on that front. But I realized that there's several medications that I've been on and off again that happened years ago that were very profound, and I still remember exactly how I felt on them and exactly what I learned or how they made me feel and all that jazz, but I just don't talk about them. Actually, prior to being diagnosed with bipolar disorder type 1, I was diagnosed bipolar spring of 2018. I had been diagnosed with just depression. That was my first sort of encounter with mental illness. That was my 8th grade year. So that was 2010. I was diagnosed with depression. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. I was also diagnosed with ADHD. So I wanted to talk to y'all about Zoloft. Zoloft was the first medication that I was prescribed to take. I was actually prescribed Zoloft and Intuniv and Focalin. Focalin and Intuniv, I believe, were primarily for the anxiety slash ADHD, but Zoloft was obviously for depression. Maybe not obviously, but Zoloft is an SSRI, which stands for selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Essentially, Zoloft works by regulating the serotonin in your brain, which is a neurotransmitter that's responsible for the chemical messages that deal with emotions and deal with emotions and happiness. So essentially the idea is that if you have more serotonin in your brain, or if you're able to produce more of it at times when you're feeling depressed, you won't be feeling as depressed. The way my doctor described it to me, because I've been on several SSRIs throughout my lifetime, is that essentially, or I guess it would help maybe to ground it in more of a personal experience. So with me, I was going through a lot of childhood trauma, and I hate saying that because that sounds just so generic and I don't know. Anyway, there was a custody battle between my father's side and my mom's side. I was also dealing with my mother, my biological mother, being in and out of my life due to her own mental illnesses. I think I was feeling very alone, and I was just right around the time, 8th grade, I said I started taking Zoloft, so this is right around the time when I really started to develop an adult-ish identity, becoming me. So in that instance, we had no idea that I was bipolar yet. We had no idea that I had any of these other issues, and I barely knew I was depressed. So Zoloft, in a sense, helped me increase the levels of serotonin in my brain so that I could continue to go to therapy and work on the behaviors and the changes and the feelings associated with that sort of isolation due to all those things I just said, the court battle, the trauma, and all of that. So it sort of works perfectly, or the idea is that it works perfectly in hand with therapy, and it's meant to be more of a short-term solution. Obviously people are on it for years. Sometimes people, a lot for me, I was on and off of it throughout high school. So I started in 8th grade, and then I was on it for most of 8th grade, and I don't think I was on it at all for freshman year. I wasn't really depressed. Then I got depressed again sophomore year. I don't think I tried Zoloft. I think I tried Zoloft. It didn't work, so then I went to something else. But the idea is that it's a short-term sort of health pack, I guess I think of it, something to kind of carry you along so that you're just not depressed and can't do anything and just dying, because that's no fun and that sucks. So I was prescribed Zoloft, and from my experience, it helped me in a weird way. So obviously, like I said, I stopped taking it my sophomore year or my freshman year, and I never really went back on it fully. But it was the first medication, like I said, I was prescribed often because it has the least amount of side effects. And next to Lexapro, it's really considered to be one of the most acceptable or accepted antidepressants in the terms of our bodies accept it, and it traditionally shows to work. I think a big piece of it is really that psychotherapy with it really knocks it out the park. And I think for me, I was a child, so I think, and you can start taking this when you're 6, but because of the low side effects, that it has. It's like doctors feel really comfortable prescribing it to be the first medication. I'm rambling. What I'm trying to say is that it worked for me, but I didn't really know how to take therapy or how to take my medication. I didn't understand all of this background that I'm sharing with you today. So from, a 13, 14-year-old, how old was I in 8th grade? I was like 13, right? 13, 12. From that age, I just remember my parents saying, we're gonna go see this doctor, and she's gonna help you. I didn't tell my parents I had been feeling depressed. Obviously they had known what was going on in my life in terms of school and the whole family thing and they knew all of that. So obviously that's why they brought me in. But as a person, I just knew my feelings behind it were just we're gonna go see this lady. Life hasn't been the best, recently. It feels kind of just grim and dreary, and I kind of hate everything. But it wasn't I feel suicidal. It wasn't life is so hard, how it wasn't quite there yet. It was just like that. And I guess that's a good intervention point. But that's sort of how I was feeling. So when I went in, I had no idea I was prescribed an antidepressant. She didn't ask me anything that I saw as a red flag. She was just having a conversation with a kid. Obviously she was analyzing me and doing all that psychoanalysis, blah 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 blah, shrink shit. But that's what I saw it as. So I say that to say that I didn't really have an understanding of what depression was / what medication was, or how you take medication for depression. I was just taking it because I was told to take it. So my final synopsis and conclusion of this whole thing is that I didn't have that knowledge to really get better, which is why that I've been struggling with mental illness since then, and I'm 23 going on 24 years old. So it's it's taken up to this point, and it's been so many years. But at that time, it really did, my doctor said, it acted as something where it was my depression. I didn't experience severe suicidal depression until a little bit after that. And I think that helped me kind of get through 8th grade, because middle school was hard. It's hard for anybody. So imagine going through all of that shit. So it kind of the trauma and all the fighting and just as a kid, it kind of did help as a little med pack to kind of get me through that. And I think it's because it literally it pumped serotonin into my brain. It didn't make things better. I just remember 8th grade was a good year because I was leaving the school I was at, making new blah 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 memories. But before that, it wasn't I was happy. It was just life sucked before, and now it's just kind of I don't feel terrible, but it's just okay, I have more energy in my legs now. It's literally what it felt like. So I didn't really do anything for my emotions personally. It didn't make me happy. Not that any medication has ever made me happy, except for maybe Adderall. So it didn't make me happy. It just it literally just gave me energy to go to school. But yeah, so that was the first medication I tried. It's often prescribed for everyone. I think that it's a good starting point because we honestly don't really know what our bodies can accept / tolerate, and neither do doctors. And that's why medication freaks me out so much, because you never really do know. Not to scare you guys, because medication is great and it helps people. It's helped me. But you do have to be honest with your doctor. If you've had any medical history that you know of, maybe ask around your family, hey, have you taken this drug, or do you know anybody in the family who has taken Zoloft or done anything like this, so you can kind of understand maybe how your family history, maybe how you might react to it. It's one of the most prescribed drugs out there, and it does work. I know for people like me, in 8th grade, obviously they're not gonna put me on freaking lithium. Well, some people do. I'm not saying that's bad either. I'm just saying my parents weren't going to put me on lithium in 8th grade. So I needed something a little bit more. I have a little bit more complex, weird problems that Zoloft is simply just not going to fix. Especially a lot of times depression isn't a lifelong thing. People go in and out of it. Some people go in of it and never depressed again. So Zoloft is perfect for that. I think it becomes a little bit of a trouble when you're prescribed Zoloft and then your doctor doesn't realize how much, not of a problem you are, but how much you really do have. Zoloft is not gonna fix what I got going on. But it's all good. All right, y'all, I hope that was somewhat helpful. I'm excited for summer. Love y'all. Comment, have you been on Zoloft? Would love to hear your experience. So just remember, share, and comment, and subscribe for new videos, and turn on those subscription notifications, y'all. All right, have a blessed existence, because y'all can be watching this video whenever. All right, peace.